decision?
Yeah, I think, we're thin at pretty much every spot up front outside of the center position. So, yeah, I don't think we have a lot of flexibility right now, and I think probably the guys that are at guard will stay there, and the guys that have been playing tackle, 3 guys there, we'll just keep working with those guys and see how it goes. But, down the road, you never know. But right now, I think, the immediate future, I think probably what you've seen is what we have, and we're best served just to keep those guys in their spots. Yeah.
What did you see from Plum with his start?
He did a good job. He fought hard, had some good plays, some bad plays, and probably say it about everybody right now. And that's part of that's credit to Wisconsin, but also, but he did some good things. I think he's improved. I think everybody in the group's improving. We just got to improve faster.
How do you get someone like Tyrone more involved on offense?
That's a question we're, trying to ask and answer in some ways. He's got plays on film, that have been, documented, and certainly if we can get him more involved, that'd be a good thing. But it's easier said than done. So it's certainly, we're trying to probe every option there might be to try to, get the thing moving a little bit more.
You're not a big social media guy, but parents, family members.
Secret's out on that.
Yeah. But parents and family members speak out from time to time. We've had that in the past. How do you address those things when those things pop up?
Yeah, I really don't and haven't unless there's something that needs to be addressed. I'm not aware of anything, so do I need to get briefed when I go in there? Something out there? Yeah, I mean, it just, everybody's got opinions. You can sit in the stands and hear opinions. I've done that at my kids' high school games, and it's horrifying to me, horrifying experience. And I'm talking about 3 kids that played in a really good program, had a lot of success. So it just gives you a window. I mean, this is an emotional game. It's an emotional game to be a fan or a family member. But, from my perspective, our families have been really supportive and encouraging. That's how I hope every parent would be. I know Mary and I, that's always been our role as parents, to try to be encouraging to our kids. And also teach them that, when it gets bumpy, you push through things. And that's it's part of life. That's what we try to do as coaches, too.
Kirk, during times like this, it's easy to ask what kind of changes need to be made. Mm-hmm. How do you make changes during the season? And is it more just a matter of just being better at what you guys do?
Yeah, it is. I mean, you can't change your system wholesale in season. That'd be really counterproductive. And you can't go out and get mercenary players either. That's not part of the deal in college football. So, you just try to forge ahead. And I guess if there's any good thing here, certainly had plenty of experience. You can go back historically and look at a lot of our seasons. Can't think of many that didn't have, bumps and adversity along the way. Really, all you got to do is look at the last 3 years. I mean, we lost 3 in a row 3 years ago. We lost 2 in a row the last 2 years. And, things turned out. I think everybody's fairly happy at the end of the season. At least internally, we all felt pretty good about our team and the way we did things. But that's the great thing about sports and really about life, too. It's all how you handle the bumps. What are you going to do when they do come? And if they don't come, that's wonderful. But it's usually not real life. It's certainly not college football too often, at least not, not for us.
We talked to Spencer. He said he's okay to play and all that, but just checking the box. He's good to. He's your starter, right?
Expect him to. Yeah.
I know you walked into Evanston 6 years ago with banged up quarterback and got it done, but.
Yeah, that's what reminded me of that one.
Yeah, well, you got the run game, but you did get the run game going that day. Is that something where you need to focus on this week?
It would help us every week. I mean, that's as you know, we in a perfect world, and the world's hardly perfect right now, but perfect world, we like to be balanced and be able to do both. Throw it and run it, and it helps in every game. To be able to run effectively. Nobody had visions of running for 200 last week. I can assure you, just look at the stats, it would be unrealistic, but. You have to run the ball effectively, and when you really need to or really want to, it sure helps. So that's always a goal for us, and we'll continue to work hard on that. And same as the passing game, you're just trying to figure out what can we have a best chance of executing, and then try to be proficient at it, and then somewhere along the line somebody makes a big play. That really helps too.
It looked like the other day that Wisconsin was targeting Jamari. At least in the first quarter or so, and he gave up a couple of passes, but then after the rest of the game, looked the part, at least in my eyes. How did you feel like he performed, and what's his path going forward, especially this season beyond?
Well, it's a good start, and I mean, he had to go in there and play, and no question they were going to check him out. I mean, why wouldn't you? He's our fourth corner, and really, it's kind of how it came out of camp, and that's where we're at right now. So I think he did a good job. Just you always worry about a new guy, maybe being a little too anxious or too jumpy out there, but I think he handled the situation pretty well, and looks like he'll be playing again this week too. So it's going to be another test for him, and probably see a few more passes this week. Maybe not, but I would expect we might.
It can be easy for offensive guys to be frustrated after a rough couple of weeks.
Sure.
As a coach, do you talk to your players about balancing using frustration as a motivation and making sure they don't press too much, and how do you go about doing that?
Yeah, I mean, it's really simple. When things don't go well, you can surrender. Just feel sorry for yourself and all those types of things. Or you can try to use it as motivation and focus on improvement, and that's really what the game's all about, certainly. And I'm not saying it's the same situation, but go back a couple of years ago, we lost back-to-back games and scored 15 points. 1 point different. And last game of the year, that year we scored 49. With a pick six at the end of the game. So again, the idea is it's a long season, and really what we need to do right now is maximize this 7-day block. And then just keep pushing forward. We're going to have a tough challenge again next week too. So the next 4 weeks are going to be like that, and it's really what we got to focus on is what we can do right now with this opportunity. And like I said, at the end of the season, we'll be able to look back and kind of go through the whole thing and chronicle it a little bit.
What were some of the hallmarks of those teams? 16, you go from getting crushed at Penn State to winning as number 2 team. As you said, a couple of years ago, the Michigan, Penn State situation, then you went on. I mean, what did they have that you could draw on, both just mentally, tangibly, and tangibly?
Yeah, I mean, first of all, the game's a game of mental toughness. It starts there, and these are moments when you really find out, where you're at on that. And then the other part, the teams that fight through it, you typically have good leadership. They're getting good leadership from within. And then they've got maturity. It takes maturity as well, and maybe that's tied in with mental toughness. But it's easy to, we can't be fans. We can't ride the wave. We can't be up and down. We have to stay focused on what it is we're trying to accomplish, and that it's easier said than done. Because each and every one of us are human. We all got feelings and emotions, and I promise you, nobody felt good. It was a hard bus ride home, and we've had a few of those, over the years. But that if you go out and compete, then it's part of the challenge and part of the risk. So how do you bounce back from that? And those references that you just put out there, I mean, those are the kind of answers you're looking for. And it's not so much about the winning and losing, but what are we going to do to move forward? And the results take care of themselves. They really do. But we can control how we want to respond, and that's a challenge every team that loses faces.
The team you're playing against has done the same thing. Sometimes it's season long. Like 2 years ago, they were 3-9. Then they won the Big Ten West. And is it just is it foundational in some ways? With the way Pat is built.
Yeah, I believe it is. I mean, it's not a fluke that they've been in the championship game 2 of the last 3 years like that. There's a reason for that. And I'll go back to 06 out there when they weren't very good, and it turns out we were teetering at that point, and they felt like they ran for 400 yards at that. I think it was 2 plus 250 or something like that, and beat us. I mean, it wasn't a contest. They beat us straight up, and I'm pretty sure we were the favorites. I don't have to go back and look at that stuff, but I just remember what it felt like, and I know they showed up ready to play, and that's what I would expect from them. Just that's their DNA, in my opinion. They're a prideful program.
Players on offense today spoke to pounding the rock, hammering away at the rock as a means for being successful. In light of what you just talked about over these last few minutes, what have you seen from this year's group specifically on offense in terms of adapting that mentality and pushing it ahead and trying to be successful?
The guys are coming to practice every day and working hard, and that's credit to them. Their attitude's been good, and that's been consistent. Now it's about improvement, having that improvement show. And that's a funny thing about football, just probably in a lot of things, but football especially, you just never know when that's going to surface. And, you got different groups within an offense, too, or a defense or special teams. So all you can do is just try to push as hard as you can intelligently. You can only practice so long and only, have so many, contact periods, those types of things, especially this time of year. So you got to be smart about that. But you just keep chipping away. So all you can do is keep chipping away and then hope, at some point you start to see some production, and some, cohesiveness that you're looking for as a result of working at it the right way. But it's all about how you work at it, and that's all you can do.
How much of a transition, I guess, when you have a first-year offensive line coach, does it take to maybe teach how you do things, and is that maybe part of what's...
No, I don't think so at all. I mean, I really feel like, from the time George interviewed with us, I mean, it was just, boy, we're on the same page, so that hasn't been an issue at all. Certainly, you go through them getting to know the coaches and vice versa, but I don't think it's been an issue at either spot. I feel really good about that, and it's just, a little bit more about youth and injury than I think anything else, and just, we got to be patient, but not too patient. We got to keep pushing and make improvement. So hopefully with every repetition guys get, be it in practice or a game, that they're gaining some knowledge and, getting ready to push forward, or in some cases maybe getting a little bit healthier.
And obviously, your area of expertise, and are you spending a little more time in that area this week?
No more than normal. No. I mean, no more. I watch every week. Obviously, it's my eyes are just kind of that way. I'm like a trained pig that way. So it just, but no. I mean, I've always taken an interest in it, and totally, have total faith in the way George coaches. Love it, and I like the way the guys are working. But it's just, it takes time. Boy, it takes time and repetition, and I mean, you go back, whatever it was, 17, I guess, where Ike and Boone were both out. So you're playing with a couple guys that are a little bit younger, and they turned out just fine. And I think our guys will turn out just fine. But there's some growth process going on there when you get two young tackles playing. So, those things are realistic. You just keep pushing forward and see what you can do to get better.
Kirk, when your offense struggles, it seems like one of the narratives that comes out is that you have to modernize.
You have to what? Modernize?
Get more.
Oh, yeah.
When you hear that, what's your reaction to that?
Blitz more on defense if we're not stopping people, or blitz left. Yeah, I mean, it's just that's so predictable. The trick is getting everything to mesh at once. To get that 0-2 offense and that 0-4 defense to be on the same team. You get that, boy, I tell you, you're in business. But that's what makes it challenging, I think, for most programs. It's a challenge because you just never know where those strengths are going to lie on a football team, and then you just try to yield toward them. But, yeah, I mean, I'm not even sure I know what modernize means anymore, quite frankly. And to me, the end game, the end result we're all shooting for, it's not all about winning and losing, but really it kind of is, because that's how, people feel good or they feel bad. And my wife has said that for probably about 40 years now. It's as simple as that. And I feel like, we've, for the most part, been able to find a solution somehow, some way, fairly consistently. Nothing's perfect, certainly, but fairly consistently. And that's what we're trying to do right now. We're trying to find the next solution.
Did you get an NCAA waiver to practice today?
Yeah, we did. Let's waste 30 seconds on that and just keep moving, because I'm really thinking about the game. But that's one of the more ridiculous exercises I've been through as a head coach. Not that anybody really cares, but it was in part of discussion last Thursday during our Big Ten conference call. I think I'm allowed to say that. And I'm just really confused whether it was a policy or a rule, and then the waiver process. I'm not a big fan of, up until the new transfer policy that we have. At least now we've got a rule. I guess it's a rule. I don't know if this engagement thing was a policy or a rule. I'm really confused on that, because I thought everybody was taking today off. A month ago I thought that. I thought I heard that, and then all of a sudden I heard there's a waiver process. We had people in our building wasting time going through that process, and then, who knows what hour, who's going to make the decision. Certainly no signatures were at the bottom of the decision, at least not to my knowledge. So, I mean, that's really confusing. And it's really confusing when you're trying to get ready for a game on Saturday. I did hear, just interject one other thing, too. Heard some talk about, like, it started with sports that were in championship seasons. Like, we are in championship season every week. In football, every week. We got 12 games, period. We're in championship season. So, the lack of clarity really confuses me, Mike, and it's, a little frustrating. I don't mind telling you that. It makes coaching football seem really easy.
When did you know you were going to be able to practice today?
I'll tell you, the drama was killing me. I don't know if it was Friday, Saturday, I don't know, but it just, whatever they were going to do, we had a plan both ways. It's just silly to think. I thought, we had a plan and then found out maybe we don't have a plan. And it's silly to waste time on things when it could just be laid out and everybody just said, okay, we all do it this way, we do it that way. I have no opinion about what we did. I just have an opinion about, is it this or that? Like that's stupid in season, in my opinion. It's just one person's opinion. I'm sorry.
Kirk, we've seen it. Oh, go ahead.
Yeah.
There was an article in the Wisconsin State Journal out of Madison Monday morning, I think it was, where there was several Wisconsin defensive players were quoted as saying every time Iowa came to the line, they knew exactly what running play was going to be run. And I know in the past you talked about the self-scouting, especially in the bye week.
Yep.
I mean, how do you react to that? That goes to kind of the predictability question. And
Yeah, I'd say based on their stats, they've had a pretty good idea of what everybody's running against them because nobody's really run it well against them outside of Michigan had success. I think that's the only team really, and Army too. In Army, that's what they do. So option attack. I'd just say it's pretty much, and we are fairly predictable, I guess, and there's certain formations, all that type of thing. But I'm not too concerned about that, really, quite frankly. They played a heck of a defensive game, and they have been. They've been playing pretty consistently all year outside of that Michigan game.
No longer controlling your own destiny, but how confident are you in this team still being able to take a Big Ten West title?
All we're trying to do is win this week. I mean, simple as that. And that's really what we need to be focused on right now. And, so I mean, that's really where it's at. And I hope our players understand that. Like all that stuff, that type of talk, that's our goal, obviously. Why wouldn't it be? But the rankings, all the other stuff right now, it comes if you deserve it. And you find that out at the end of November. So right now, we really need to focus on this week. And if we deserve to be there, we'll be there. But you got to earn that.
A lot of the defensive players in the post presser and then today spoke about their performance and how it might have been a good performance, but it's not up to their standard, especially turnover-wise. They've kind of been on opposite ends of the spectrum first 6 games, last 2 games. How would you assess where they're at right now? Maybe what's the key to kind of getting back to forcing more of those turnovers? Yeah,
man, that's a good illustration. Just, we had a hard time getting a stop 2 games ago, and we came back, and last week, we were better at it. So just an example of, you hit games sometimes or patches and you keep pushing for it. And I thought our defense made progress. You aren't going to get a lot of turnovers from Wisconsin typically, and they're playing in a way right now where they don't have to really expose themselves that way. So I don't want to say it's predictable, but it was going to be tougher to get a turnover or a takeaway this past Saturday just by the nature of the way the game played out and the way they play. But, it's the same thing there. I mean, it's just about, trying to match up this week against Northwestern. Face the challenges that they're going to present for us and see if we can get a plan to stop them. And then, if we can get some takeaways, that would really help us. But, they come from being aggressive and being sound, and that's where it all starts.
Is there any validity in your mind? I mean, Alex is a little bit more mobile quarterback for having protection problems. To put someone in there can maybe extend plays a little bit more. Man, I'm not saying to start or anything, but just like during a game even.
Really haven't given any thought. I mean, Purdue did a good job rotating quarterbacks. Haven't had a lot of success doing that, but we really haven't given that much thought at this point. Yep.
But that's not something you think about. Like protection's not good. Maybe we should have a mobile guy in there.
No, we're trying to focus on improving the protection right now. But we may get to that. That may be Plan C. We'll see.
Pat and Cheryl have a relationship, and how have you felt you guys have influenced each other in the Big Ten football as a whole over the past 15 years you guys have been here?
I don't want to speak for him, but I think there's a mutual, respect. I got a lot of respect for him, and I think it's mutual and genuine. Pat was a really good football player. I wasn't here during that, but he's easy to envision, and he took over that program in just what couldn't be a tougher circumstance. I mean, that was really, you want to put things in perspective. That puts it all in perspective, and he's just done a great job, and that's easier said than done. I mean, that's a really tough circumstance to take something over. I'm not saying he wasn't prepared for it, because that's not the case at all. But it's still, until you go through, it's like any new job. When you're first year in a job, there's always a lot of learning going on. And Mark Murphy, the AD, I think, had that in mind too. Encouraged Pat to maybe bring in a veteran coach to take his place as an assistant, just a little bit more guidance. But the bottom line is Pat's done a great job with the program. Outsider looking in, he went there. That he lives and breathes that program and has been, from my vantage point, just a huge asset for the entire university, not just their sports programs or the football program. And, I'm not so sure how important any of that stuff is anymore in college football, but I think it's a pretty good story, and, he deserves an awful lot of credit. He's, and you get measured, I think, as a coach by how your team maximizes what they have. And to me, if you look at what they've done over the years, they've really done a great job of that.
All right, thanks.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.